Hello everyone and welcome to the program Business Points on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining on today's edition of the program. Today we'll be looking at Nigerian inflation cap and also be looking at the current CPI and its impact on Nigeria, because from what we heard from the Central Bank of Nigeria as well as the NBS, the National Bureau of Statistics, they made mention of the fact that they want the rebasing and the CPI of the Consumer Price Index to help curb out inflation, and tightening the monetary policy by the Monetary Policy Committee team also made mention of the fact that it's going to help out in curbing out inflation. All of these are the major reasons behind the facilitation and the rebasing of Nigerian economy and the CPI. So we'll be diving into all of these conversations for today as we return back just after this break. To stay with us, we'll be right back. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. We sincerely apologize for that long break that we had to take just to make sure you get the best of the best kind of production from today's edition of Business Point. So joining me live in the studio is a financial analyst, Mr. John Ocha, who's going to help us dive into this conversation on the impact of the current CPI on Nigerian economy and also how it's affecting businesses and the financial sector in Nigeria. Good morning, Mr. Joe.
Good morning.
Yes, many thanks for joining us on today's edition of Business Points.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, so what's your reaction? Let's get your reaction first, the current rebasing of the CPI and also the inflation. So we have seen that the inflation has become down to 24+%, and then the CPI based on food inflation also is at around 26%. So looking at it currently now, and then the Monetary Policy Committee team still left the current interest rates still at 27.5%. You know, a whole lot of Nigerians were expecting to see a certain reduction by the meeting that was held last month in the month of February by the Monetary Committee team, based on the fact that the rebasing of the economy has been done, but still nothing yet was done in that regard. So let's get your reactions to all of this.
Thank you very much for inviting me here, and thank you, viewer out there. First and foremost, let's understand what rebasing entails. Rebasing is just a way of shifting from the old data to the new data. Or is a ways of calculating the old data, migrating us to the rhetorics of the new era of a new calculations that bring a real fact of the reality to the minds of those who portray the actions that have been happening from the past. You see, the rebasing is long overdue because the last experience we had in the rebasing is 2009, and then 2009 to 2024 is about 23 years ago. And then Nigeria is a big country that the rebasing of the CPI is not supposed to, take a longer time like the way he takes at this time, because it's supposed to be year in, year on, and then without thinking as such. For what they have done, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, have done is long overdue, and we thank them for what they have done currently by rebasing the processes. Because one of the important of rebasing is to remove the historical bias and also bring in the bigger pictures of the price index, taking it to digitalization. And then at the same time, it will bring the new price tags to the system, and that is exactly what we are experiencing now. Then secondly, it's a new action that has been taken by the NBS. The Central Bank of Nigeria cannot swing into action by start remodeling their financial processes and their statistics, because you have to wait for them to do historical analysis,
yes.
and then they have to also look at the models of the analysis before they go into a logical conclusion, before they take action in the MPC meeting.
Okay, let's look at this. You know, you rightly mentioned earlier on that where you mentioned on the fact that the rebasing what is based on the current realities of a country's economy. But now, Nigeria is our case study now. A whole lot of policy makers actually argue that the MBS are not being realistic with the current situation of Nigerian inflation, based on researches that they have conducted, and also it has shown negative. It's showing negatively, basically. So this current rebasing now that we are witnessing, is this the actual reality of Nigerian economy? And can Nigerian bank take it to the bank that okay, this current inflation rate that we are seeing is the current stage of the economy and also the GDP?
All right, thank you very much. The fact is that emotions cannot be done with a true fact of statistic.
Okay.
Because average Nigerian is expected that the price of goods and services to drop drastically because of the economic issues that have been expanded for a very long time. And that is why whenever people who are saddled with the responsibility to give us a basic information, and then when they begin to delay those information, just like we have experienced from almost 23 years ago, and then they came up with those informations now,
yes.
The question of trust begin to set in. I think that is the aspect from what the populations are looking at, whether the information that have dished out is reality, or is a factual information, or is just a micro, managed information and all that.
Yes.
But it is not in our purview to understand that, because MBS is a federal institution that is saddled with responsibility to dish out data for the federal government, and then we work with it. So we won't toe on the line of emotion, just the way a lot of people are looking at it from the emotion side of view, because the sources of data are from different perspectives. We have primary data, we have secondary data, and then at least, even if you don't have access to the primary data because of resources, we can have access to the secondary data, which we foresee, because those secondary data are already digitalized, and then we focus aspect on the digital information that we get. Because despite the fact that we are not getting a first-hand information based on the primary information, there are institutions in the country, there are institutions outside the shores of Nigeria that can also give you first-hand primary information, because it has been put out there in their website and every other platform, which is the means of form of information. They can have access to those informations and all that. Because I was watching a program some time ago where the DGs of the MBS says because of resources, there are some certain things they could do. They could not cover because the federal government are unable to provide them those resources, but they are trying their best to expand their scope with the meager resources they are with to do the needful and ensure that the right thing is being done. And I believe sincerely they wouldn't want to give us information that is not reflecting, because from the market as it is right now, you realize that the food product in the market is even going down drastically, and then some product in the market is going down drastically, and you see the distance of the rebasing in 2024 with the reflection in 2025 January. We are already in the first quarter, which is we are in March already. Despite the fact the distance is not too long that you can literally say that there are calculation and there are information they have given to the public, then it's not a true reflection of what we are experiencing in the market now. But with time, we begin to see. But in economy, You cannot outrightly say that you arrive at the logical conclusion because it's a forecast. We forecast the future to ensure that we have a benchmark on what we needed to do to reflect the true natures of our economy. And that is what we have been doing over time. So at least now we should give them kudos because they have given us a little information that we can now lay hold on.
Okay, in 1 minute, less than 1 minute, Mr. John, do you think that with these current realities that we're facing now, do you think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's plan of rebasing or bringing down inflation to 15% based on what we have now statistically, do you think it's going to be achievable?
It's visible because recently the United States of American President Donald Trump gave kudos to Bola Tinubu, our president, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that yes, Nigeria is in a top list of corruption, but since it's coming in, the corruption is going down drastically, and some of the actions that we are seeing, we believe that with this statistical analogy of the rebasing of the CPI, we have hope. Not just a little hope, we have a high hope that yes, the things is going to be a lot better than what it is before.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. John, for taking our time to join us on today's edition of Business Points. We want to say a very big thank you for all of your inputs.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's how much time will permit us to take. But before we wrap up or draw the curtain to this edition, based on what Mr. John says, some persons have said that price of food items in the market has been going down, but our reporters will be getting us more reports on that as market survey will be coming up, given the fact that we're in a month of Ramadan, and Ramadan purchases would definitely kick in as soon as possible. My name is Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining on to this edition of the program. I'll see you again as we talk more business. Bye for now.